Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Wendy Chen. Thank you for joining us. Coming up in today's show, in China, we see how disaster survivors are coping nearly 1 week after the DaAi earthquake in Sichuan province. City volunteers in Taiwan's Pingdong bring comfort and support to victims and family members of a multiple vehicle accident. And 14 years after the 9/11 tremor, we look into whether government and citizens of Taiwan have learned their lessons from the calamity. We kick off today's program in China in a continuing effort to help those affected by the DaAi earthquake in Sichuan province. On April 23rd, city volunteers arrived at Chonglai City and organized a distribution at Jinkou village.
Following a villager, Sichuan city volunteers and a truck full of aid supplies arrive at Jinkou village in Gaohe town. The villagers also kindly assist the volunteers to deliver relief supplies to the region's more remote areas.
The relief items are limited, but our love is unlimited. These relief supplies represent city volunteers' love from around the globe.
As many local residents are still frightened by the earthquake, Tzu Ji has become their anchor, providing them with love and care. Seeing Tzu Ji's humanistic spirit being exercised at every step of the distribution, Gao Shoujun, who returned to Jinkou village after the disaster, says she was truly touched by what she saw.
A lot of people came from far away to help us, so I wanted to help my fellow villagers too. Tzu Ji volunteers told us that we need to do a 90-degree bow when presenting the aid supplies to the quake survivors, so I just follow in their footsteps. Tzu Ji volunteers are great. All of you are filled with compassion. Thank you for supporting us.
Thanks to the Tzu Ji volunteers, local residents can temporarily forget their sorrows and enjoy the warmth that comes from having a loving family by your side.
It has been nearly a week since the DaAi earthquake devastated many parts of Sichuan province, and more than 10,000 local residents are still living in poor conditions inside temporary shelters. Though charity organizations have donated drinking water and food, many are still in need of daily necessities, baby formulas and supplies.
It has been 5 days since the DaAi earthquake. Currently, more than 10,000 quake survivors in Lushan County are living in tents set up at a local gymnasium and using water provided by the military.
We use water provided by the military to cook meals, wash dishes and clothing, and take showers.
The weather in the area has been poor over the past 2 days, which has affected the living environment of these quake survivors. After the strong quake, many houses became unlivable. In this tent lives 13 members of the Yang family. Inside the tent, rainwater has already leaked in, leaving the eldest daughter with a fever, while the family's 2-year-old suffers from hunger.
We don't have any diapers, so I need to take her to the washroom 3 to 4 times during the night. It's very wet in here, so she needs to go to the washroom more often. Every day we will give her some bread and water. She has lost a lot of weight.
Moving to another tent, we see a child covered in a blanket. This little boy suffers from post-earthquake trauma.
When the earthquake struck, he saw the furniture moving and the fridge and television all came down. He was crying really hard, and we could only leave the house after the earthquake stopped. Ever since the disaster, he has been saying that there is an earthquake constantly.
As the sun comes out, female residents quickly seize the chance to do some laundry.
My children have no clothes to change into, so I have to wash their clothes. However, we don't have a place to let them dry. My children haven't changed their socks yet.
Currently, local residents have enough food and drinking water. However, the area still lacks daily necessities and, most importantly, much needed emotional support that can assist them through this difficult time.
Following the 420 earthquake in Sichuan province, city volunteers have established a children's support center in Lushan County to help them leave behind the traumatic experience and learn to smile again.
Following the 420 earthquake in China, as schools were temporarily closed, many parents sent their children here. This is Tzuji's temporary support center, where children can immerse themselves in the world of drawing and leave the terror caused by the quake behind.
Here I can do some drawing or reading. Staying in the tent is boring.
Parents can leave their children here at a temporary support center, free from worries, and carry on their work in recovering their homes or helping other people in need.
The temporary support center not only comforts parents, but also satisfies the children's eagerness to learn. Every 2 hours, the volunteers will lead the children in a sign language song. Running for only 2 days, the center is already a favorite with the children.
I see many kids here and I think it's fun, so I come to join them in drawing.
After the earthquake struck, they cried every day. Now the kids feel happy as they can do drawings or singing here. Like this morning, my kids asked me to bring them here as they are eager to learn drawing.
Despite the limited space, Tzuji's warmth and love can be seen here. Later, volunteers also try to teach the residents the importance of environmentalism.
We want to teach the local residents the importance of environmental protection. As you can see, the disaster area is filled with garbage. It's really messy.
With crayons in hand, children here at the support center are drawing what they remember of their schools and homes. Although the path to recovery is long and strenuous, Tzuji will be always by their side and support them to get through this difficult time.
As news of earthquakes occurring around the globe continues to daunt many, some may be feeling anxious, frustrated, distracted, and even have irregular sleeping patterns. If you experience the above symptoms, doctors suggest these may be signs of acute stress disorder, and if not dealt with properly, may lead to post-traumatic stress disorder. Earthquakes are happening all around the globe.
It was a terrifying experience.
I don't have a regular sleep pattern. We don't know when an earthquake will happen and what if our house collapses.
Even if there was no quake, I still feel like it is shaking.
Doctors say that people may be suffering from acute stress disorder if they feel the ground shaking despite there being no tremor.
When something traumatic happens, or when you go through a frightening situation, we call it acute stress disorder.
Symptoms of acute stress disorder are continuous flashbacks to the disaster and nightmares, and anxiety, which includes irritability, poor concentration, and difficulty in sleeping. If these symptoms persist, the sufferer may then go into the next phase of derealization and detachment, where they avoid reality and any news of the event, as well as cut themselves off from the rest of the world. Doctors recommend members of the public to take steps to help themselves after experiencing a traumatic event.
I would recommend an abdominal breathing method, which we breathe in through the nose and let it out through the mouth. Listening to the music, reading, taking a walk, or walking the dog, or even outdoor exercise, these are all great activities.
If symptoms persist for over a month, it is then referred to as post-traumatic stress disorder, where the patient may become absent-minded, have hallucinations, and exhibit dissociative behavior.
It is more common in women. Secondly, you are probably born a tense person. Only the minority is born with a family history of bipolar tendencies or depression, but these people have to be especially vigilant.
Patients suffering long-term stress disorder are to seek medical attention and relieve symptoms of insomnia and depression through medication. However, doctors suggest the best way to overcome a stress disorder is to first adjust your mindset and stay positive. In Taiwan's Pingdong, a volunteer of the Leng'an Homeless Social Welfare Foundation was driving a van when he accidentally hit multiple motorcycles and cars. The car crash took away a motorist's life and injured 3 others. City volunteers soon arrived at the hospital to care for the wounded and brought their condolences to the victim's family.
This is the scene of the multiple car collision which occurred on April 23rd in Pingdong City, causing 1 death and 3 injuries. Upon learning of the accident, Tzu Chi volunteers soon bring their condolences to the victim's mother, trying their best to comfort her.
因为年纪到是就是很轻。
The victim is still young, so her parents and family members could not come to terms with her death. We hope by coming here we can bring them emotional support and comfort.
Volunteers also reach out the wounded and their family members.
现在人都很清醒了哈。那饮食还可以，讲不讲的可以啊。
As volunteers extend their care and love to the family members, they promise to continue providing assistance when needed.
In China's Guangdong province, Tzu Chi volunteers from the Tzu Chi Liusha retreat in Puning City visited solitary senior resident Grandpa Wang to clean his living environment, and children from the neighborhood also arrived to lend a helping hand. Looking at the amount of furniture and kitchen utensils volunteers are moving out of this house, it is difficult to imagine that Grandpa Wang lives here alone. With over 20 volunteers crowded into the small alley, children in the community were curious and came to see what is going on. Seeing the volunteers working to help their neighbor, these youngsters also pick up brooms and brushes to lend a helping hand.
做好事不能少我一个人啊，做坏事不能多我一个人，好不好？
Apart from giving Grandpa Wang's house a big makeover, Tzu Chi volunteers also encourage him to regularly exercise by giving his living environment a clean from time to time. Back to Taiwan, United Microelectronics Corporation in Hsinchu recently invited DaAi Technology to their headquarters to share environmental concepts and how its green products are made from PET bottles.
When speaking of DaAi Technology, its commitment to reusing resources is something that always gets mentioned. Today, attendees got a first-hand look and feel at the unique results of this commitment to recycling.
We want to thank DaAi Technology for coming here to share with us how to reduce our waste, as well as how we can get better results and help the world's recycling efforts find deeper roots.
Bringing recycling into action starts in daily life. Thus, the CEO of UMC himself is a frequent visitor to a nearby recycling station.
For many recycling volunteers, when doing recycling, they are able to find a heart of joy and thankfulness, while their respect and appreciation for all life is really inspiring.
Showcasing the fruits of recycling is a stand outside the hall where UMC staff marvel at the amount of items that can be made from recycled materials.
We have been able to learn a lot regarding recycling. Of course, these ideas must also be turned into action. I hope one day I can take part in the volunteers' events and work on behalf of this planet.
Recycling is not just a slogan but requires concrete action. Thanks to visits like these, more and more businesses are learning to bring recycling into their company as well as individual lives.
As Labor Day is just around the corner here in Taiwan, the Labor Affairs Bureau in Kaohsiung City recognized model labor workers through an award ceremony. A nursing supervisor at the Kaohsiung Medical University Zhonghe Memorial Hospital, Zhang Chongying, was among the awardees, acknowledged for her hardworking efforts. Receiving recognition from the director of Kaohsiung's Labor Affairs Bureau is a nursing supervisor at Kaohsiung Medical University Zhonghe Memorial Hospital, Zhang Chongying, who has been in the field for 34 years. Among the many patients she has accompanied, Zhang remembers most of her bladder cancer patients.
I felt he was really depressed and wouldn't talk to the medical staff or his family members.
Knowing the pain her patient was going through, Zhang was particularly accommodating.
陪伴几分钟，比如说10分钟啊。
I would spend more time with him. For example, I would drop by to greet him when he is eating. We wanted to let him know we are here for him.
我们还是很可爱的啊。
After the patients recovered, he would visit her often at the hospital, which is a motivation for Zhang to continue what she does. And she even extends her care to her colleagues.
我是觉得关怀。
I think caring for someone is like when you see a medical staff looking tired, you give him or her a chance to talk to you and let go of yourself and just chat to them to understand what is going on.
In the 2003 SARS outbreak, Zhang Chongying led other nursing staff in the fight against the epidemic. Today, she is awarded for her dedication to the medical field and is a role model for all those around her. It has been 14 years since the 9/1 earthquake in Taiwan, which caused drastic changes around the island. In an effort to prevent further landslides, reforestation has been implemented in the aftermath of the tremor. However, have local residents and government officials learned anything from the catastrophe? We now take a look to find out.
The two lakes here in the Valley of the Mountains are actually a result of the 1999 9/1 earthquake. A landslide formed a barrier between Zhoucai Stream and Sezikeng Stream, forming these two quake lakes.
One of the main reasons we left the quake lakes as they were is because we hope in times of drought, the local residents will be able to use the water reserves here for irrigation. So we continue to preserve this area in its natural state.
Fearing further destruction of the quake lake, experts suggest constructing a spillway to offset the overflow of water.
Originally, the quake lake was two different depths. However, we leveled the lake depths to about the same level. The excess water we then directed it into Nangang River.
In an effort to repair the damages caused by the 9/1 earthquake, Taiwan's Landslide Prevention Center has been planting trees to help with soil rehabilitation.
We try to plant native species to the area, and every year on Arbor Day, we hold a ceremony to plant more trees in the area. It's really starting to look like a forest again.
Also in Nantou, Mount Jojo's landscape also changed in the 9/1 earthquake. The disaster caused a widespread destruction on the mountains. However, through years of reforestation and maintenance, vegetation has been restored to nearly 70% of the mountain.
During the earthquake, Mountain Jojo's layers fell away like a peeling banana. They grow bamboo reeds there, so that was the layer that fell away. The rest of the mountain held intact.
With global warming and climate change, can Taiwan's mountains withstand the test of time? Even the well-known Lushan Hot Springs in Nantou is defenseless against the overdevelopment and environmental destruction, as the yearly 10-centimeter foundation sinkage has turned what was once a picturesque getaway into a grotesque distortion.
That area isn't suited for residential purposes. The area is prone to landslides and floods. After Typhoon Senlaku in 2008, the government issued a relocation plan.
However, the execution of such a plan has yet to be implemented, as to date, there are still around 20 or so operational hot spring resorts in Lushan area. According to the special draft bill on land restoration and conservation, new farming fields and new developments are prohibited from settling in Taiwan's mid to high elevation mountain regions. Also, buildings, facilities, and crops at high elevations must be removed within a timely manner. The special draft bill is similar to the Environmental Constitution Supervision Act, Article 7, which states Taiwan's government should carry out environmental protection laws in accordance to national environmental protection plans to implement and execute sustainable development.
Of course, the most important part is that in local areas, they are unsure of their benefits in such an implementation, and local parties are unable to agree on the issue. So execution of the ruling is difficult.
As all wounds still need time to heal properly, yet inhabitants of Taiwan continue to destroy this fragile land. What's to become of this area when it meets the next natural disaster?
On April 24th, a group of delegates from China's Guangxi visited Master Zheng Yan at the Jingse boat in Hualien to give personal thanks for Tzu Chi's relief efforts in the recent disaster in Sichuan. Meanwhile, the Guangxi University of Chinese Medicine also signed an agreement for cooperation and exchange with Tzu Chi University School of Post-Baccalaureate Chinese Medicine, marking yet another milestone in Tzu Chi's mission of medicine.
On April 24th, the Guangxi University of Chinese Medicine, together with Tzu Chi University, signed an agreement for cooperation and exchange with the Tzu Chi University School of Post-Baccalaureate Chinese Medicine, established in 2012. Last month, Tzu Chi University Dean Wang Benrong traveled to Guangxi for a Chinese medicine academic exchange.
The Guangxi Medicinal Botanical Garden is accredited by the United Kingdom as one of the biggest medicinal botanical gardens in the world. We are very thankful for this generous opportunity to help Tzu Chi University's Department of Chinese Medicine flourish and grow.
Tzu Chi's affinity with Guangxi began through the mission of charity, when Tzu Chi aided victims of the Guangxi flood in 1994. And now the combining of strengths in the mission of education marks yet another milestone in humanitarian education.
The medical students of Tzu Chi University address those who donated their bodies for medical science as their silent mentors. Such kinds of humanistic care incorporated into medical education is something we should take after.
Humanistic care is the core of all Tzu Chi's missions and could be seen as Tzu Chi volunteers provided timely assistance for the survivors of the recent earthquake in Ya'an City of Sichuan Province.
In the aftermath of the Ya'an earthquake, we see Tzu Chi volunteers again reach out to the victims, providing timely assistance. The local residents and villagers are deeply moved. So I'm here on behalf of our people to express our heartfelt thanks to Master Zheng Yan.
And now, in the wake of the Ya'an earthquake, immediate relief can be seen being carried out by government officials.
比起来5年前来看得很安慰爱意，虽然那样的受灾难人都很不舍，可是呢，感觉到人助人的力量很快降低了很大的伤亡的，所以很感动啊。
The care and mutual assistance which exists in the world makes no distinction between faith or race. Apart from emergency relief, the advancement of medical education will continue to build a solid foundation for the development of traditional Chinese medicine.
We go back to Taiwan at the end of today's program. As disasters are becoming ever more frequent, Tzu Chi volunteers in Taipei's Nehu Recycling Station for the past week have been working to produce the signature grey blankets used at Tzu Chi's international relief work. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.